And welcome back to the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship. We're on to Game 3, the deciding game of the elimination match here in Group B between Europe's Fnatic and North America's Counter Logic Gaming. I am once again joined by my experts of Mithy and Dexter. Guys, thank you for staying with me. In this particular game, Fnatic won slower, which meant CLG had the choice of side. They opted into red side for this matchup, picks and bans. Despite the fact, actually, no, they won on red side in game one of this series.
It makes perfect sense. They want to play their split blue style. It worked. It has always been working in NALCS, and it just only makes sense to last pick top lane and win through that.
All right, what options will they have as far as picks and bans? We are going to be jumping into that very, very quickly. Dexter, Bard, Lulu, Udyr were red side bans for Fnatic. They banned Kalista and Bard on blue side in the previous game.
Yeah.
And Bard is going to be the first ban again. What else are you expecting to see from these guys?
Probably a Fiora ban, I think. They don't want to leave it open. And we're going to see Nautilus ban from CLG, I think, because there's been one of Gamsu's best champions and is pretty annoying to play against. And yeah, Udyr ban.
First pick Gragas if it's not banned. Take that away from
Xmithie. I think they kind of have to at this point, but you force the Kalista.
Please,
yeah,
please.
They need Kalista open, but yeah, literally makes sense. I mean, standard ban.
I hope it's a Fiora ban now, and they just replace the Kalista for
first pick
Fiora.
That makes sense.
For Udyr, sorry. And now they should first pick Kalista or force a ban from CLG.
Ooh, this is scary. Reckless just played Jhin. Is Jhin, I mean, he's not first pick worthy, but he's also not going to really be contested here.
No, I mean,
how hard is it to play Jhin and went to what comps?
I think Jhin is pretty hard to play, but it's like a new champion. People are still trying out, and I think people just slowly start to realize how strong and lane dominant he is. And I talked about Forgiven about him too, and he said, yeah, the champion is really, really strong in lane if you can play him. And yeah, he can match the Kalista's power, but I think it makes sense to first pick Kalista here because the champion is just too. Okay, Lulu's open, never mind.
All right, Mithy,
that champion.
What would Mithy pick? Because he said Kalista a lot, but Lulu's up.
They would pick Lulu, right?
Braum is up, Alistar's up, Kalista, like...
I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about this. You know? This situation has never happened to us, so I'm just gonna... Guys, please leave both open and let us decide, okay?
Okay,
please,
so
please.
Judge then what decision has been made. Lulu first pick, that was an insta-lock Kalista Gragas for Xmithie and Darshan there. What do you think?
I think it's... those were the three power picks. They've been the most powerful champions right now, especially with the Udyr ban. The Gragas becomes even a higher priority for both teams. So I think it only does make sense for both teams to pick what they wanted. Fnatic decided that they would rather have Lulu over Kalista. I respect that decision, and they stuck with it.
I really like TF here because I think we have seen it yesterday in the games already, where TF just enabled top lane so hard and made like a lot of plays on that map. So I think for CLG, TF is actually like a really good champion to just enable Darshan and this will push.
The way you play against a Lulu is basically you're in a time clock where you're eventually going to lose when Lulu gets the items to speed up the AD carry. So what you want to go for is aggressive champions. Like Gragas is aggressive in the way that he can like E-flash you. You have Kalista. You want to pick an aggressive mid laner too, like Corki, for example. So you basically just play through that power hole they have in the mid game with the Jhin, sorry, and the Lulu, and just storm through that mid game and win the game through it.
All right, storm through the mid game.
I mean, now they have like insane team fighting. I mean, if you look at those 4 picks, CLG, I don't think you can actually like out team fight it. Right?
You can late game. I mean,
late game. It's like
but that's the thing. That's the thing. The mid game is going to be so strong for CLG that Fnatic is going to have to stall for that 30, 40-minute mark, depending on how kill heavy the game is, and it's going to be tough. But it's definitely winnable for both teams right now. It's just the strategies are different.
But even in North America, CLG's mid game is not very clean. This series, they've been caught out multiple times. Last week in their wins against Cloud9 and Immortals, they had a lead. They were playing the map. They got caught out multiple times. There was Huhi and actually Stixay who were the victims in the NALCS. So they need to play a cleaner game if they want to use that mid-game power spike. The team composition will be rounded out here. It's the Lee Sin into Gragas that, you'd mentioned in the first game of the series that Amazing says is okay. And once again, a Rammus. So kind of all in on this Jhin damage and being enabled by Lulu.
Yeah, I think...
I don't like it.
I was about to say, it's like... Maybe, I like CLG's draft a lot more here, actually, I think, even with a little.
I just feel like, sure, CLG doesn't play clean and so on, so there's obviously a lot of hope for Fnatic, but the main problem right now is that in this patch, we have first-hand experience. You can't just stall out. Like, a team that gets any advantage early game, it doesn't matter if their team comp is not gonna be good later into the game. If they snowball cleanly, they will win. And we can see that in LCK from Rox Tigers. They're always getting early game comps, getting a lead and just snowballing through it. So right now, CLG has all the potential to do the same. If they fail, it's gonna be Fnatic's game. They have the scaling. So if we're going in for another 40-minute game, then I'm sure Fnatic will take it, but else, I think CLG has it.
So we're going to see the Rammus into Vladimir once again. The counter pick, according to Darshan, at least in this series. 30 seconds left with the comp still on your screen. Your prediction rate is 50%. But nobody could have predicted that last win. So let's see who takes the series and who advances
CLG.
to a best of 3 against QG. Whoa, that was
CLG.
strong and convincing.
Yep. I think CLG just, I think the Vladimir does so much because we talked about this when the game goes longer and longer and longer. I think the Vladimir actually just does really well into like the Rammus. We saw that matchup how it plays out already, and eventually he will just split push right. And the 4-man squad from CLG has like a really, really strong mid game. And I think if you make a mistake against that kind of comp, those champions have like a lot of room to just outplay and have like create opportunities. So I think CLG should be able to take this based on picks.
Honestly, I'm gonna root for Fnatic. I think that I actually don't like the Vladimir last pick. I don't think, like, sure, he split pushed and so on the first game, but I think his laning phase was not anything that was anything impressive against Rammus. I think you should be able to punish Rammus harder in lane, and I think Fnatic can take it. I think if Fnatic doesn't fall behind and just is able to play a stalling game, they can win. I believe so. I think CLG is pressured now, and
You
yeah,
They're gonna
Who's
crack.
gonna win?
I think CLG is gonna crack.
All right.
Okay.
Well, we are about to find out, ladies and gentlemen. As we head over to the caster desk, we're just going to take one more quick break.
Hey, welcome back, guys, to the IEM Intel Extreme Masters World Championship. I'm Doa. With me, of course, are Monte Cristo and Deficio, and we are going into game number 3, the final game between Fnatic and CLG, a game that decides who moves on to face QG and whose tournament is done. So guys, we've seen an interesting game 1, a very long, very interesting for other reasons, game number 2. What do you think about game 3? Give me your breakdown of the comps.
So Fnatic again has been aiming for a super strong 2v2 lane. All 3 games in a row, Jhin has the Kalista counter picked because Jhin is super strong in the laning phase combined with a ranged support. Does tell me it's going to be standard lanes again if you are Fnatic, even though you put Rammus in that disadvantage top.
Well, and we saw this in game 1, nearly exactly the same situation, and what it resulted in was Darshan just snowballing out of control and being able to get that split push up, despite not having, I would say, the greatest team composition of all time. And we saw CLG, because of Aphromoo, basically just outplaying the lane of Fnatic, winning into that losing matchup. So it is a bit tough right now. You take the Jhin for the lane, you want the 2v2, but then you're in the same position in the top side.
It's fun, though, to see their Fnatic mentality when it comes to using Gamsu. It's almost always like, let's sacrifice our top laner if we can help Reckless and Klein the bottom lane.
Oh, it's a pause. Oh, well. We'll see what the issue is as the tender piano music comes on, as we reflect on game number 2 a little bit more.
I don't really want to, Noah.
This is the kind of music that you would need if you were kind of reflecting at, you're like, wow, we made it through.
I don't
We made it to game 3.
We survived game.
We survived it, but I don't think I want to reflect on it.
I want to share
terribly much.
I survived game 2, Fnatic versus CLG 2016.
It was fun, though, walking by the 2 teams after that super long game. Everyone was just so serious, barely anyone talked, just the 2 coaches talking to the teams. And it's tough when you play these long games. And the winner, as you said, Doa, earlier, is playing QG next.
Yep.
And that's after this game. You have, what, 15-minute break, 20-minute break, and then you're playing.
Well, fatigue is an enormous factor here. Yeah, for sure. I mean, the longer the series goes, you know, not only does QG get, you know, more scouting intel by watching this, but, you know, they get to rest while whoever ends up playing them has to play their hearts out and deal with all this stress. Game 3 is not easy for anybody.
CLG saw Fnatic having Reckless and Klein on the bottom side, and they're now lane swapping. So they're basically saying, we don't want to deal with that 2v2 lane. Now that we have Alistar as well against double range comp and the Jhin. Remember, Jhin is a bit like Caitlyn in the sense, strong laning phase, fairly weak mid game. Really wants to get to 3 items before he becomes a powerhouse in the late game. And that's what CLG is trying to play around and saying, you're not going to get that laning phase that you so desperately want.
Pretty much. Aphromoo moving into the jungle a little bit. Looking around, trying to find some Fnatic members, but Gamsu's already heading down to bot lane to meet up with Spirit.
And one of the things we were talking about a little bit during that Champ Select 2 was what is going to be the itemization on the Jhin this game? Because it's a question mark as to whether you go for the static shift for the wave clear or for the rapid fire cannon. Now, obviously, if you're trying to use the Lulu in a team fight, be on that front line, you really do want that extra range from the rapid fire cannon so you can answer some of this poke, try and open up a fight with that. But if we're going to see more split pushing from the Lulu, Jin's going to have to be the one holding the mid lane. And in that case, does make it a bit trickier. And you may have to go for the static shiv instead.
Yeah, it's one of the things about the Lulu Corki matchup. Oh, Spirit.
Yeah, wow, W over there. There's Huni. They get the flash out of Huhi, rather, right away. Nice little win for Fnatic.
Standard lane swap with a 3-man push, but very early from Fnatic and very delayed from CLG. So they're really far behind now in this swap before they actually get to the tower. They need to call in Xmithy now after he takes his boop off to help push in the tower if they want to make up for lost time. That's what you do. You sacrifice your jungler in the sense he doesn't get the extra camps, but he helps you push in because you are now behind in the tempo, which can become super impactful in a minute or 2. It's not about the step 1, it's about step 2 and 3 of these swaps when the first tower is down. CLG are not doing it, so they will be behind on this push, and that means Gamsu will get some extra farm when the tower dies, and you can send Reckless and Clive faster to the top side and deny the Vladimir.
Yeah, Reckless taking a lot of that initial damage from tanking the minion wave, but obviously not enough, and not going to be very effective here as the recall will come in, and he will get that faster little angle onto the top side, and we've discussed this before, but CLG, they're in the top side of the lane swap first. This often can open up that first dragon, which is a great way to snowball a game, especially if you're CLG's composition and looking to play for the mid game. Threatening that 5 dragon stack a little over 30 minutes can be very useful, but now that they're behind, that may no longer be an option.
Fnatic is making this play again. They did it earlier today as well, where they put Reckless back in the bottom lane to get the 2v2 lane. Because they take tower and they expect now Kalista and Alistar to return to the bottom lane like we normally see in these swaps. And then Jhin shows up, and you can see Klein, your minimap, is walking on top side to put down a defensive pink ward and then his own green ward to spot any ganks coming for Gamsu when he goes to top side, because that lane normally would be pushing away, but it's actually pushing slowly around the mid lane. And CLG are reading it. They're going to see the 2v2 on bottom side.
Yep.
Spirit is
Not
here.
yet, though.
And Gamsu will actually complete the recall. Thresh has to recall himself and come back. They could have made a play there.
I don't like this play from Fnatic in this case, because they were actually pretty far ahead in how fast they killed tower. So what should have happened was you would have gone top with your AD carry support. You would have pushed away the Vladimir, who would get like only a few CS because he had less time to farm. And you would then push for that tier 1 tower top, take the Rift Herald, and then you would swap down to bottom lane and you would fast push in with that 2v2. And you have a Rift Herald, which means you are constantly ahead in tempo, which means you will always be faster and force the D to defend. This now forces the 2v2, where you don't really gain any extra advantage.
Well, the other thing they could have done is actually they had the vision advantage there. Gamsu was recalling the brush. They didn't really know how far up they were. There's a possibility you could make a Lee Sin or a Rammus play. You've got a lot of crowd control there, and at least try and pick up a kill, get some sort of surprise. But instead, Fnatic sort of squander the advantage. They could have made either one of those plays. The swap you're suggesting is a lot of what we saw at Origin yesterday. But you could just straight up try and go for a kill there, too.
Yeah, they just want that 2v2 so badly. But again, just like when they played QG, they are behind in experience because they were pushing so fast in the bottom lane, sharing experience as 2 or 3 members. So Reckless is only level 3 to level 4, meaning that advantage he would normally have is not there in this 2v2.
Flash from Reckless. Don't worry, I'm still here. CLG gets a little bit aggressive in the bot lane. Clyde takes a lot of damage. Smithy rotating around from behind, though. See if they can maybe get a dive out of this. I'm not so sure.
Reckless left the game, dropped out of the game.
Yeah, wow. So that means the gang's probably not coming in right now, at least.
See what happens. He just instant quit the game.
He's gone.
Angry he lost his flash.
I guess. He's like, oh, it's not, I'm out.
I'm done.
I found the tilt key.
Tough situation, though, and really a lane swap we've seen Fnatic use in the EU LCS. Again, it's the mentality of Gamsu is their, I'm going to say, the least important member for our team right now, because he's just playing tanks all the time. So we will send him to these lanes where he's going to be in a disadvantage to try and put Reckless and Cly in a better situation. The problem is just that you will be behind in experience, waiting for that big wave to come in. And this 2v2 has to pay off for Fnatic, but there's no tower. So it's these very long lanes. If you're pushing the bot lane as Fnatic in a strong 2v2, the other team just kind of backs away and wait for you to push it all the way up. And then Vladimir's going to do the same against Rammus.
Yeah. Tense music has replaced the piano music as we wait to see what's going on with Reckless's computer. See if he can get back into the game.
Looks like he is back in now, and everyone is ready, so we should be getting into it pretty quickly.
Great. All right.
And there is a dive, a potential dive developing in the bottom side of the map. Spirit is running down. They did see Xmithy's Gragas in the tri-brush. Would be a little bit presumptuous to go for that dive with so many summoners up on the side of Fnatic, even though that flash is down. Spirit just going to clear out a pink ward instead.
Well, we'll see what they decide to do as we are back in game now. Reckless just had to use that flash to get away from the engage from Afromoon CLG, and that's going to allow CLG to put a little bit more pressure on this bot lane turret. But remember, here comes Spirit.
Yeah,
Here comes Smithy going in. There's the engage from Afromoon. Teleport coming in immediately for CLG to try to secure this first blood. Goes over to Kalista right as well. Stixay picks that one up. Spirit comes down. Q goes wide on Xmithy, which is hard to believe because Xmithy's so wide on that Gragas. Here comes TP coming in for Fnatic. Gamsu's right there, gets knocked up immediately, gets low. He's not a tanky Rammus yet, but Afromu, Stixay, everybody's so low. Xmithy gets hit by the Spirit Q. They're just going to back off.
And again, remember, CLG had Stixxay being a level above Reckless, so they could push in the lane. Gragas was there already, and Swift was around, but he couldn't find a good route to actually come in and stop the dive, and there was no TP for Febiven.
He was also killing a pink ward behind the red buff. So he wasn't actually there in time. Didn't think that it was a major threat, but since Darshan was already at the top tier 2, he had the better freedom to teleport early on. Instead, Reckless is going to go ahead and pick up that CS in the top lane. So a bit of misplay right there. If we take a look at the start of this, I mean, they were just late to the party.
Yeah, and remember, no flash from Reckless. He had to use it before because he was under pressure in this 2v2 that Fnatic picked. Like, this is all a result of the way they decide to put the lanes after first tower dies. They put themselves in a situation where enemy top laner can TP and not really lose anything, and you get pushed into tower. So it's a good play by CLG. It's smart shot calling, adapting to the situation, saying where can we now force a play that Fnatic can't really respond to.
Wow, Gamsu is so lucky he didn't die during that fight too. That was very nearly more than 1 kill for CLG.
And this is the excellence of CLG's early game that we've seen. Reckless now going for a gank, not going to land the bind.
Yeah, who he able to get out doesn't even need to flash. He had the Whimsy on him for a little bit, but it faded in time for him to get away. We have a roaming Jhin now.
Yeah, the lane assignment for Fnatic is really strange here. He walked up top because he needed to push out the wave. You always want to put your AD carry support to push out waves and your top laner to receive the waves in the early game. Because he's a little bit too weak on his own and it's super easy to gank and deny. So he had to go top and push it out. And then he walked all the way from top lane to bot lane. Catches another big wave, but he's not been able to play this 2v2 at all. And Fnatic just been putting themselves in disadvantages.
Yeah, and that means that already there's about a 1.5k gold lead for CLG just at 8:30 here, which is not a lot, but it's a lot for this point in the game.
And this is looking really eerily like game number 1. We have this Vladimir now, even though there was a lane swap in this game, we have this Vladimir who's starting to get an uncontrollable advantage. And now an engage.
Coming in, Aphromoo with the counter engage, Reckless in a lot of trouble. There he goes, another kill for Stixxay. CLG, man, these dives, this play from Aphromoo has just been great.
Well, what are you going to do? Stixxay has already hit level 6, so they're able just to play around that Fate's Call. And Spirit was in the bottom side of the map again, but just not respecting the power spikes that CLG has.
But you're Jhin without flash, so it's so easy for Gragas Alistar to just jump you every single time and kill you. And Fnatic, again, it's their own fault, honestly.
Frankly, even if he does have flash,
yeah, he's probably going to die anyway.
Since they had, you know, the Gragas ult and the Kalista ult up, you're not living through that.
Only response is like a Lulu TP to save you, but that's about it, and it has to happen instantly.
That's 2 turrets already for CLG, taking that bottom lane tier 1. They've got the top lane tier 1 from a while ago. And Fnatic starting to have to play some major catch-up. They're almost 3,000 gold down already.
Well, but this has been CLG's pattern of play in the last few weeks. Have a very strong early game. Just outplay your opponent on the map. Get the superior shot calling. But it does tend to fall apart later on. We saw that definitely in the last game. They have to figure out a way to keep up this pressure.
Yep, Dragon still has some health. They're going to turn on to Cly right now. Cly gets a wild growth, gets knocked up a little bit. And now, Spirit getting away. Smithy's really low, man, and they actually give Reckless a kill there. Wow, nice shot from Reckless. Double kill there. And Febiven picking one up, too. They're going to grab the Dragon, and just like that, things turn around in a big way.
This is so important for Fnatic. The Jhin that was behind, that didn't get to be a lane bully, gets 2 kills, and CLG is starting a Dragon early on in the game and taking a lot of damage from it with 5 or 4 members of Fnatic still being around. Hui is now zoned away, so he's not really impactful at this point because he can't get too close in this choke point up on top side, just outside of your screen. Gets a few hits down, and then they go and climb, but ulti from Febiven, and then it's just engaged on the 3 members who are still tanking Dragon, by the way.
Yeah, the Dragon just coming out of the pit, but the package used to disengage rather than to join up with the 4 people on his team. Nice shot there from Reckless to get the double kill. And they used so much, they burned the Alistar combo onto the Thresh when the Wild Growth was able to save him, so a lot of their crowd control had already left. And then it was Sahuhi just trying to get back into the river, and the Lulu was already there waiting for him.
And we don't often see Dragon fights in the early game anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
But this, when you started with 4 members around, obviously Fnatic is going to go in and try and fight you because you're taking damage from it, and it even ended almost killing a target, but got a lot of them low. Clearly an FNC Dragon.
Well, I mean, it caught up a lot of the gold lead. CLG still a little bit ahead, but Fnatic really close. Reckless in trouble. Nice ult from McSmithy. Knocks him back under turret. Gets out on the lantern, though. Good save by Cly.
Now, they really need that turret, too. That's going to be about an equalizer in gold if they can actually match that turret count.
Yeah.
So becoming increasingly important. But the question about who's going to stop Darshan, just like in that first game, is still present.
We will most likely see Lulu sit in that lane later and just wave clear. Like, don't try and fight him necessarily, just push the wave, match TP for TP, because there's no one who can really go against Ramos then with the other TP. That's one of the things about Lulu into Corki, is that you have a fairly even laning phase after the Corki nerfs, but you can bring TP as Lulu, which then offers you more map play later on, where Corki relies on the package more or less and just pushing lanes. Kalista is the one sitting and clearing side lanes at this point. Obviously not the same impact as a TP champion.
Well, we'll see what Fnatic can do now. Trying to push up this mid lane for the moment.
This is also the game for Clyde to really show what he can do. And this synergy Fnatic talked about they had with Reckless and Clyde together, the two Swedish players in the bottom lane. Because he's basically the man saving Jhin in the mid game.
Yeah.
Over and over and over. If he's not there with Lantern, the body slam from xMithy, combo from Afromu being thrown in by sticks, they will kill the Jhin.
Well, we've seen it already once. We've seen Cly just recently pick Jhin out from underneath the turret up in top lane.
Yeah.
So he's ready. He knows what his job is. Spirit's ready too. In the Raptor pick, Q onto Afromu. Not the person he maybe wanted to land that on. No follow-up. A little bit of damage on the mid lane turret from CLG.
You know, Deficio, you were talking about xMithy's Gragas to be earlier today, and I think it's very important to mention what you were saying here.
So xMithy's biggest problem when playing Gragas is he's very greedy for damage. That means when he body slams in on a target, the small knock-up where you have time where the other member can't flash, he doesn't always ulti right after. So he actually gives the other player a chance to ulti out, because he will like auto attack first, or he will put down his Q, and that means that little buffer, that little moment where you're knocked up by body slam, it kind of gets removed or nullified, because you get to land and then you can spam flash and you can escape from that ulti from the Gragas coming after. So it's very, very important that xMithy body slams in and then instantly ultis when he hits a target, so there's no chance of flashing away.
It's worth noting that with this composition, as we see
the
call
snare
coming in.
Curtain call from that Jhin. Hui taking a lot of damage, got slow. A little bit more, oh, not quite enough. Fevin goes for it. That was so close, man. Wow.
If this Jhin had been sitting on a BF sword, that was a kill.
Yeah.
But because he got so far behind, he's sitting on a pickaxe and a lot of crit.
Yep. That's not enough to kill Hui.
So to go back with xMithy, at least he's not the only form of engage here. You have Alistar combo, you do have the Fates call with the Alistar too, so it's not, they're not going to be as reliant on that to catch somebody out. CLG certainly not lacking in engage in this composition.
Yep, Trinity Force picked up for Hui now on that Corki. So big items starting to get done on the CLG side at least. Not so much on the Fnatic side yet. Gamsu and Darshan dueling up there, and wow, that's a fast banner of command for Gamsu.
Hey, magic resist, and also against a champion who needs his magic damage to clear it out. I mean, auto-attacking a cannon minion as a Vladimir is going to take quite some time.
Yeah.
This actually makes it very difficult for the Vladimir to split push.
Look at that. That is going to take a long time to kill.
Just throw your blood at it, Vlad.
Yep. Yeah,
It's a weird way of throwing blood. I mean, nobody throws like that.
He kind of underhands it there.
Nobody throws blood like that. How do you throw blood, Deficio?
You know, Denmark invented handball. You just fire it straight in people's face.
I didn't know that involved throwing blood at people, though. It's a grim place.
If it's a crazy thing, maybe there's some blood involved. Normally not.
Okay, all right.
It's just about how you throw anyway. Doesn't matter just if it's blood or water or
throw anything.
or whatever it is. Just don't throw it like Vladimir throws.
Don't throw it underhanded?
It just has no effect. No speed.
When you go bowling, you don't do that either?
I did when I was like 5 years old, maybe.
I thought so.
You still do it, Doan?
No. Nope, I've graduated. From underhanded bowling school, I guess? I don't...
Yeah, I'm not really sure what...
I don't know where I was going with that one.
Congratulations.
Rift Herald taken by CLG. Underhanded bowling school sounds like... It's like a school, but it's really a front for like learning about being in the mafia or something. That underhanded bowling school. Reckless, looking for some shots to clear out the wave. Well, that wasn't quite as exciting as we were hoping for. But it works.
CLG is putting a lot of focus on trying to take down this mid tower, but Fnatic is Just clearing out the waves every time instead of actually letting Kalista play side lane when she's still strong in a 1v1.
Oh, dragon fight number 2 incoming, maybe? We'll see. CLG looking for their first dragon. Fnatic looking for their second. Q lands on Xmithy. CLG gets that dragon with the Ren. Spirit in the back lines. Whoops. Yeah.
You are against the Kalista.
That didn't work out. Ouch.
Yeah, he was also in there after the dragon had actually died.
Yeah, mistimed that a little bit.
Not only the mistiming there, but the misplay as well. Just too much crowd control, knocking him around. And CLG very ready for that one. So when we look at this Rammus, actually Rammus pushed all the way to the turret with that shielded cannon minion. See a little bit of a siege happening here. And then Vlad, during that time, pushed it back finally after the turret killed it. And by the time he was down to the tier 2, the banner was up again. So this timing is actually looking like it's going to work out for Gamsu when it comes to this defense.
It's going to be Febren in the other lane. Let's see. Look in again. If you want to move Lulu to a side lane, it's just to maximize farm on your carries. Reckless gets mid lane, Febren gets bot lane. For now, though, they're putting pressure on mid, and both teams are kind of dancing around the mid lane here. No one is really playing on the bottom side of the map. These minions have just been fighting each other for quite a while. I mean, obviously, Febren has to go down there. He has teleport, and you can just farm 3 lanes. And then when CLG sends someone to defend...
This is the slowest push I've ever seen.
I really like this adaptation from Gamsu, though.
It's really smart,
very clever. They knew that this pick had a possibility of coming out again, given its success, and they figure out a way to stall him out.
Only problem is Vlad can kill the minions around, but then his minions will take down the poor banner.
It still takes a long time,
yeah,
though, you know?
And if you combine it with, you combine that cooldown on banner with the cooldown on the Rammus ultimate, that's going to stop any pressure between those two things.
Let's see if he can go
Powerball.
on the minion.
Oh.
A cannon.
Oh well. Enjoy some blood.
Underhand throw.
You.
Does he do the underhand throw with all his skins or just that one?
I don't know.
No clue. I don't really study Vladimir's skins too often. I'm not sure if that's how you prepare Monty, but...
He just stares at Vlad's skin splash art for hours.
Clearly, because that's why I'm asking the question.
Oh, TP?
It's on him, yes!
Oh, he got him. No TP coming in for Darshan. Here comes Spirit over the wall. Darshan in a lot of trouble, and there we go.
Mid lane is open, though. CLG pushing in one more time. No minions.
Yeah, they got no minion waves, so... Oh, there's a hook.
Got a little bit excited about that.
Well, settle down. Settle down, Deficio.
Sorry.
I'll forgive you this time.
Oh, the minions.
One more like that, and you're going to underhanded bowling school.
You must have been a very smart kid.
I was so smart. How did you know?
Well, he was wowed by your math skills.
That's usually what I hear, yeah. That's what I get. Yep. All right,
Ban out command, hype.
It's doing so much work in this top lane. They're probably just going to get this turret, aren't they?
Yeah, there's a lot of people in that mid lane right there, and only the Jhin left to defend. They're going to pull Xmithy under the turret, TP.
Yeah, TP coming in now for Fnatic. Spirit trying to get in position to make a play. Can't quite do it, though. And CLG doesn't get the turret. They do back away successfully. Febivin had to use that teleport to get back to mid lane.
I understand the way CLG is looking at it, saying, oh, we're against double TP, so we can't really go and push all 3 lanes. But if you meet the wave early and you have a Kalista who's so strong in a 1v1 with 3 early kills, you can very easily push out the bot lane and just push it towards Fnatic on their side of the river and then walk in towards mid lane, and you actually apply some side lane pressure and you might force a teleport, which means next time you do it, you can then push in mid later and try and take down tower. Just A-ramming mid lane over and over and over is just buying Fnatic time. And keep in mind that Fnatic are the weaker team in the mid game. They want to scale to late.
We did see CLG do that exact same thing in game number 2 of this series, which is just trying to stack up, and that actually delayed them pretty significantly.
And CLG doesn't want to go late game here.
And their game against SK Telecom, we remember, they stood in the mid lane, and that opened up the double teleport to come in and clean up that very important team fight, which set SKT on their way to cruise to a snowball victory.
ZZ Rot, or Zrot, or whatever it is called.
Zerat
port.
Gragas incoming again. It doesn't have the same impact as Udyr, by any means. It's still a good tank item in itself.
But without the mobility that you have on Udyr to find those locations, and also just the speed at which you can clear out the enemy jungle to set up points for the Zerat portal to go, that's going to be quite the conundrum.
Stixxet is top lane now, so we are having CLG push 3 lanes after 6-7 minutes of them trying to ARAM.
Well, if
Fnatic
it wasn't
wants
working
something
and they were going to get TP'd on.
Exactly. I mean, this is the point of the game where CLG are a lot stronger. Corki mid-game, 2 items Kalista. This is where CLG wants to fight and put pressure on the map.
Well, they've got a dragon to do that within a minute. Got a chance.
Still only 1 dragon. Fnatic can just give it up and say, you know what? We don't need this one.
It's true. Whoa!
Okay.
Flash from Clyde. He was really expecting an engage from Aframu there. And
Or
I'd
from
have
Vic
seen
Smithy, he could have tossed out a barrel right there too. So
True.
understandable flash. Not wanting to get himself in a position where he could get picked off here. It's just important for them to live as long as possible.
And look at this player from CLG. Now Febman had to run from the top lane to mid lane. That meant he wasn't there. Engaged though from Spirit.
Yep, gonna try to go in Aframu with the counter engage. Just a lot of damage from Huhi. Wow. Clyde just gets evaporated. Gamsu thinking about coming in from the side. He nopes his way out of there pretty quick. And CLG get the turret, get a kill, get some pressure.
And 2 things here open up that mid lane. Febman had to take the wave top and then run to the mid lane, so he wasn't there to instant wave clear. And also, of course, Clyde having to flash away early, so he had to stay further back.
Well, here's the thing, though, as we see this siege continuing to go down onto this mid turret, is that Gamsu actually had teleport advantage right there, and they were pushed very far up. There could have been a preemptive teleport play like we saw SKT do onto the mid lane. There is a pink ward on the right side of the river, and they could have used that to actually punish the engage and then fought in a 5v4.
Yeah, could have tried. Gamsu going back to the bot lane now to stop the split push from Darshan.
I mean, what we saw instead was him just trying to trade with taunt with Darshan. I'm sure we'll get a replay of that in a second.
This turret's taking a lot of damage. Fnatic just not able to stop this.
Well, they have TP disadvantage now. Now they can't stop it.
Yeah.
Darshan has his teleport up. Gamsu used his very ineffectively.
CLG can back off and maybe look for that second dragon as well.
So a good mix of things for CLG and a bad decision by Fnatic, honestly, with the way Gamsu played it. But just finally getting that Kalista in a side lane to then move mid after it's been pushed opens up, because obviously no TP from February just yet. You get a dragon as well, 2 towers. This is what CLG wanted to do in the mid game.
I mean, you can see Gamsu just chasing around. Look at that pink ward. He knows there's no vision, and he does TP on it eventually, but you could have done that before the tower even went down, before this engage occurred, before your entire team is chunked out.
I think that
he was pretty late.
The calling here for Fnatic is like February yelling, I'm coming, wait for me, and then Gamsu's there for delaying his teleport at the same time, and just some miscommunication.
Oh, hello. Aframu goes in. Wow, pops that ultimate. Here comes the package. Huhi looking for some serious damage. Clyde trying to get away, but Stixay is in range to do some damage now. Clyde lives due to the wild growth, but Fnatic still on the run in a big way. And it doesn't look like CLG, well, we'll see. Doesn't look like they can pick up any kills right here, but certainly a team fight win regardless.
Getting some summoners. Clyde again, one of the main targets.
Yep.
Got the static shift, as we talked about earlier on the Jhin, because he's the guy sitting mid. Might see full late game, he sells it and gets the rapid fire, as you talked about, Monty. Better for these team fights, but the static shift, because you are the wave clear in mid lane.
Oh, Fnatic.
Gives him more Darshan.
Darshan has to flash over the wall. There's the pool. Gamsu waiting. There's the taunt. Under turret. Darshan taking a lot of damage. Can he get away? Here comes the engage from CLG. Aframu gets a 3-man knockup. There's a kill for Darshan. In return, exhaust onto Reckless. He's going to turn around for one. Onto Aframu. Not bad. But Smithy's still all over this Fnatic team. And the shutdown comes in for Huhi. Clyde trying to disrupt the back lines, but it is just not working. Oh, maybe it is. Maybe it is working after all. As a kill comes in for Febvin, Clyde finally falls though, and Stixay using that entire fight to push down the mid lane. Stixay wasn't even a part of that one.
Fnatic just looks so desperate. They don't have to make these plays right now at all. They're going to have the stronger late game. So they have the 2 teleports in this game. Why follow this so far down when you could just push up to the tier 2 instead?
They see Kalista top and they're like, guys, 4v5, let's fight this one. But Clyde isn't even there just yet, and they're diving on the tower against the Vladimir. Super greedy play now. Reckless obviously on this Jhin. Too far forward, gets a kill, but there's really nothing they can do in a 4v4 at first, and Clyde joins while Stixay is just farming 2 lanes at once. Super greedy dive.
Yeah, Huhi gets a little bit too aggressive there. Dies to Febvin, but overall, CLG winning a big one there.
It's just so unnecessary. They weren't in a losing place before that game started, or that fight started, and They get a little bloodlust and
Yeah.
end up giving CLG the exact kind of lead they're going to need to be able to close out this game.
And it just makes it worse and worse because you are slowly catching up. And then we have that play on mid tower where 2 towers goes down for CLG, missed opportunity for teleport from Rammus, and now for the follow-up play, diving in as well. Like when you play double TP in a scaling comp, all you want to do is just push minions in side lanes. Because then you force CLG to always go back and clear these minions, and therefore they can't be aggressive and you slow them down. You don't really look to crazy team fight dive onto
really?
the other team, yeah.
I don't know, I kind of like that myself, but whatever you say.
Well, I guess CLG likes it as well for now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy to take that 4v5 when the Rammus and the Lee Sin on the other team have 0 HP left.
I mean, the thing is that we haven't seen CLG be the most methodical but closing out games, so they've still got some issues maybe. Here comes Gamsu onto Darshan. Darshan taking a lot of damage actually. Pops that Hemo Plague. Hemo Plague.
Plague.
It's
not a plague.
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 It's just an accent.
The
don't
Black
worry.
Plague.
Hemo Plague. I think people get what I'm saying. Right. I should be careful because we're in Europe, the land of no accents at all.
Hi, guys.
It's all right. You did a good job calming it down there, Deficio.
You guys told me to.
You did. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, we just see.
I mean, it's easy to calm down as you watch Vladimir slowly auto attack a banner of command cannon minion to death. Big push in top lane from CLG. Huhi trying to flank a bit, but this
TP
teleport.
play.
Oh, flanks upon flanks. Spirit takes a lot of damage. Nice wild growth for the knockup. Doesn't save the Lee Sin though. Gamsu in the back line. Stixay trying to get out of there while doing enough damage. There's the ult from Jin coming in. Lot onto Huhi. Nice snipe. Again onto Stixay. Man, Reckless has been doing work on this Jin. Fnatic looks like they're going to win this fight. Darshan comes in very late. Aphromoo with another pulverize, but he's going to end up getting taken out in the end. That is going to be an ace, a near perfect ace for Fnatic.
Where was Darshan in that
He was so
fight?
late.
He was so late to that party. Gamsu, there was no one there to stop him actually from TPing in. Obviously, that's a concern if you have Gamsu there to taunt you.
I guess.
But this is just going to be now a Baron for Fnatic.
Another great engage. So from this Rammus, we've seen it a lot of games now from Fnatic. TP in, smack into that backline, and even though you have QSS at this point, he actually deals so much damage when he's standing around you with his ulti, and you almost have to hit him, but you don't want to hit him. He's just standing right in front of you. Look at this engage again. Where is the Vladimir? Let's see.
No, he just stays there. Division, he just stays there.
He has
Didn't
teleport.
even TP in at all?
No, he has TP up.
Yeah, he's just hanging out. He's like, oh, they got it. Oh, wait, they don't got it. Reckless is so good.
Yeah, Reckless is threading the needle.
There's the TP.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was an ace. Yeah, so late. Wow.
Man.
At this point, don't even join. Just take the bot tower.
Yeah,
I'm going like,
entirely.
all right, boys, it's on me. You know, I didn't teleport in time, but I'm getting bot tower. And then maybe you could even be annoying at the Baron after.
Like, if he had TP'd in right away, that would have been a different fight. But
yeah,
as is, CLG does get the third dragon for them and manages to back away just in time. Not sure how that happened.
Keep taking this fight though.
Yeah, man, they don't need to worry about it. Wow, Huhi just drops a package across the entire team, and that's going to kind of create a line that Fnatic doesn't want to cross right now.
We've hit that 3-item spike though on the Jin. You start getting the BT, so you have a bit more defensive spirit.
Yep. Oh,
Stixay.
Stixay. What a play from Spirit. Stixay had no chance to get out of that one, and Fnatic seems to really be seizing control of this game.
Got the Baron buff pushing up again. Klein not hitting the hook.
Yep. And whoa,
Spirit.
he's going in again. You don't have your ult up yet, man. You be a little bit more patient here.
Gamsu looking for the zone on the next wave. Should just come right around and scare them off the tier 2 turret. That's what he'll do. He's actually going to go for it. Gets
Flashed
the taunt
in.
down.
Dude, that was a nice play from Gamsu. Fnatic suddenly playing with this power spike with all this confidence, and they are rolling towards an inhibitor.
And Huhi not doing the same as AD carries doing, building QSS as the third item, so this is not an option. Just get taunted and taken down, because taunt from Rammus, you proc that damage, then the snare coming from Reckless after. And more
I don't know. CLG trying to stop their inhibitor from getting taken out. They're too late. Stixay is back. Darshan coming from the side. Whimsy onto Stixay. Not going to be doing any damage for a little while, though. Kai comes back in, and Reckless just untouched in this fight. Aphromoo, yeah, nice 5-man pulverize. Too bad everybody else on your team is dead. Double kill for Gamsu.
Can Fnatic finish here?
I think they can.
I mean,
they can get close. They can get very close. Going for it. One more. Gets the slow. And there's the ace from Reckless. And Fnatic should be able to close this one out. He's back up. But how much can one Corky do? We're about to find out. Not much if he gets hooked, rather. Hitched, hooked, whatever. Fnatic with a dominating game number 3. And they are moving on to the final game today against QG.
All right, hold on. Let's not use the word dominating in that fashion, because
it was a dominating 10 minutes.
dominating 10 minutes for sure.
Give me that much.
CLG with some really big communication issues at the end of that one, just not following the teleport at all. Very disrespectful play with their lead.
Even the setup there, Vladimir was in a position to start hitting tower. You didn't even technically have to take a big team fight. Walking towards the top side, beautiful engage from Gamsu. Again, like, he's been good today on this Ram. He's had some very good engages. And then this Jhin pick from Reckless, pulling it out when it really matters for Fnatic as a counter pick to the Kalista. Didn't work in the early game because of the way Fnatic plays the swap. But then he gets 3 items and he gets into these team fights and he's just sniping people left and right.
You know, just another great game from Reckless on that Jhin. Like, that is... We haven't seen a lot of Jhin yet in pro play, but that certainly seems like some of the best games we've seen from it so far.
I think that these problems from CLG continue. Strong early game, look like they have a total control over the map. But then everything falls apart. Who he sticks a get picked off, and that gives their opponents windows back in.
They are out of the IEM World Championships here, but Fnatic is moving on. Let's send it over to the expert desk to hear a little bit more about that series.
Thank you very much, guys. And Fnatic, yeah, a dominant 10 minutes to close the game out, but it certainly didn't start that way. Dexter, Fnatic fell behind early. There were some very good tower dives from CLG to punish Reckless, to pick up a few kills. They generated a very large gold lead, and it was a very good laning phase once again from CLG.
Yeah, I think Monty just summed it up perfectly fine. CLG has like a really good early game, but their indecisiveness and I think communication problems of what to do next. And they couldn't really close out the games.
Yeah,
we've seen it the whole series pretty much, that they struggle to just snowball their lead, take the small leads, and then snowball into bigger ones and just choke them out. But they always do the same mistakes over and over again.
They really did. I've got a replay of that Dragon fight that actually gave Reckless a couple of kills, as well as gave the gold lead, or closed the gold lead. Pull that clip up onto your screen. You can hear the crowd in the background, very excited. Dexter, talk me through this play as we see Reckless coming in a
moment. So it's a fairly early Dragon, and you should be able to do it, but the problem is Corky got out of the team fight because he got caught out, had to use his package defensively, of course, and then you see Fnatic can just walk up and clear the vision, what they should not be doing, and it's like a good thing in theory, but you play against Lulu, and then Spirit is going in, and now Reckless with the snipes, of course, like the Smithy kill is really helping him out to get his power spikes where he gets strong, and yeah, Fnatic just did a really good job, even though on paper, or in theory, it was a good fight for CLG, but Fnatic just took it.
It was super unnecessary for CLG to take a fight like that. I think they had the perfect champions to collapse mid lane with the pressure they had on both side waves. I think they had a really strong advantage from the lane swap. Fnatic decided to defend, got dived anyway, and their top laner TP'd and basically lost the whole freeze on top, and at the same time the wave bounced back to Darshan, so they were really screwed early game. And the fact that Reckless got 2 kills when he had even a really terrible basis because of his deaths, just put them back into the game. From there on, they were able to stall the game out, like I said at the start, and except for one mistake on the bottom side of the map where they tried to dive Darshan at his tier 2.
Hey,
they played that
just
game.
So happens we have that replay ready. Pull it up onto your screen. Literally, actually not planned, by the way. Mithy, explain to me what you liked about the second team fights. The Rammus, of course, will be initiating onto the Vladimir. Roll the clip out and talk me through what you like.
I just don't like it at all. Their win condition right now is to just stall out the mid game, and getting the flash is fine, but just committing on their tower like that, even if it's 45, it's really not necessary and worth it at all. They can use the pressure they have with this to just get some jungle camps, keep stalling out, trade sides, wait for that 30-minute power spike, which showed that they will just win the game no matter what at 30 minutes. And this is I think the biggest Fnatic mistake, but overall they played a pretty clean game, and even this was not too bad since they managed to get like 2 kills off it. So
Yeah, managed to make it work. Dexter, hold those thoughts for now because I believe Reckless and Cly are already standing on stage with Shox.
Thank you very much, Trevor. Indeed joined here by Cly and by Reckless. After that game, I had to sprint down myself because you guys turned it around so quickly in the end, especially after that series. Reckless, first, in your head, tell me about Game 2, what happened there, and when you guys started turning this whole series around.
Well, I guess basically what happened is that we tried the solid strats against QG in the groups, or the first game, and then in Game 1 against CLG, but we didn't feel like it was working out in our favor. Therefore, we kind of just, I guess, took our chances and went into the Jhin, which is not something people have seen before, but it actually works pretty decently into Kalista, as you could see, and we just kind of took our chances, I guess, and because at that point it was like nothing to lose anyways. And I think it's pretty nice for the team's morale that we get to come back in this way.
Definitely is. Specifically for you, Cly, you didn't have the best Game 1, obviously. Can you talk me a little through what happened? I saw you guys going into the team chat after, and then I can only imagine that you really wanted to make up for that Game 1 and the rest. Talk me through that.
Yeah, so I played too passive early on when we had the winning lane, so I don't know, I got like the mindset I need to make it up, so then I started playing too aggressive and got caught sometimes, and yeah, I just died over and over, and after that they snowballed.
What did you guys talk about after Game 2? Was it a feeling of, oh, we can take it now, or were you still insecure about the rest of the series? Because CLG had played really well in that Game 1.
Yeah, so we still thought we had the chance, but we played so sloppy the first game, so we got into a reset mindset, and then we wanted to play our game.
Is your game or your favorite game then this aggressive style spirit going in, you guys getting those team fights and those kills? Because the times that you have done that, even last week in EU LCS, it was very successful. How do you kind of make sure that you can do that all the time?
Well, I guess for starters, the 2 first games we played today, we weren't really playing that style. We were trying to, I guess, be more calculative as a team. And I think it was actually one of the downfalls we had in those 2 games. So we just tried to, moving into the second game against CLG, to just, as I said before, take our chances and play more aggressive and be more on top of them and be more proactive. And I think it worked out really well, actually, in our favor. And we put CLG in a spot they perhaps weren't comfortable in. And we, I guess, took the series in the end.
Do you think that the Jhin had a lot to do with it? Because it did seem that in the fights you guys had the upper hand and they didn't really know how to deal with it, or what do you think was the main factor?
I don't think it was like Jhin being too strong for them or anything. I think it was just a comfortable pick for me to go into once we were in that seat. So I wouldn't say they lost because of the Jhin, but I would say we won because of it.
All right. Well then, great series. You guys pulled it back. You have momentum, and now you got to go up against the QG Reapers and win another best of 3 to make it into that semifinal, into that huge hall next door. How are you going to do it? How are we going to see that successful, aggressive Fnatic versus that team?
Since our first game wasn't that good against them, we will go in with new mindset and play our game instead of trying to counter theirs.
Anything final to say?
Well, I think it's awesome to see so many people here. So that's good. Everyone cheers for us, so that's awesome. So yeah, I guess, thanks guys. It's really awesome to play here.
Well, they would be very happy if you make it to the big Spodek next door in the semifinal, but we will see if that happens. Thank you guys very much. Congratulations, Fnatic pulling it out in the end. What a series, guys. I'd love to hear you guys talk about it some more.
That's exactly the plan, Shox. And I actually want to echo what Reckless was saying. Everybody here in Katowice, Poland is phenomenal, and they were losing it during the course of that game. And also the amount of Fnatic jerseys in the crowd, they really want Fnatic to pick up that win. Dexter, you incorrectly predicted them to lose this game.
I mean, what can I say? Sometimes I have too much faith in my old team, you know?
Yeah.
They let me down, so...
You don't have faith in Europe?
Yeah.
I'm a traitor, yeah.
Let's pull the final replay up that we have. This was, in my opinion, the last nail in the coffin for CLG. It was an ace that took part fairly late in the game. It was around the 28-minute mark. Roll the clip out, and Dexter, maybe talk me through some of the positioning.
I mean, of course, we see like 4 male from CLG here, but look at Darshan. He's still pushing bot lane, and this TP is actually coming in very, very late. So, of course, Fnatic is taking a really good fight here, good front line. The position is fine, but there's still no TP. It's like, I'm not sure if it's not up or something, but the TP, now it's there, but it's already too late because, yeah, I mean, cooldowns have been burned, and yeah, he gets polymorph when he comes in. nothing you can do, really.
How hard is a team fight like this? It seems so close, so scary, and Darshan so late to teleport.
I think trying to get into CLG's mind, Darshan wants to split push, right? And he just doesn't really want a TP. CLG knows that. They try to just get one pick on Lee Sin, but then Ramos TPs and they kind of are committed to the fight, and it's really hard to communicate in that moment, and the top laner has to like make one decision, and he's just a bit indecisive. It's not an easy call, and obviously kind of
backfires, right?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, Fnatic take down Counter Logic Gaming 2-1 in 3 very dramatic games. Fnatic fall behind in every single match, and 2 of them they claw back. What's your takeaway, having seen the whole series, having played against Fnatic a few times this split already, knowing that they've got another best of 3 to play?
Well, I think Fnatic overall has shown a very good adaptation. I think they are actually better on best of series than they are on best of ones. This clearly showed, like, even just the Ramos pick into Vladimir. Darshan thought it was fine. Even the first game, I thought it was not that good. And then this game, the Ramos adapted his build, and so did everyone. Like, first game, as Clay was saying on stage, he played a bit too passive, then he started to play a bit too aggressive, then he just adapted throughout the series. So did Reckless with his snipes.
Yeah.
I think just overall, Fnatic adapted, played better, and CLG just failed to do the same.
And is that a lot to do with, obviously, the players looking at the game, discussing it, as well as support staff? I could actually see Dalo and some of the analysts up in the crowd watching the games. What's it like getting feedback between the games and you know, talking with your teammates, talking about what went right, what went wrong? Dexter, maybe first.
I don't think you talk about, like, if you're going from game 1 to game 2, you don't talk about the first game, because it happens, you know, it's like a new game. And I think dwelling on mistakes is like the worst thing you can do. So what you do is you just say, okay, did our strategy fail us, or did the execution fail us? So if the execution was bad, then you can try it again. But if you know that the strategy is not working out, then you kind of have to adapt and just make a game plan and talk about the upcoming game. Yeah, I think that's like the most important thing.
What's it like for yourself, you know, having been in that position yesterday in a best of series and having to bounce between games and talk with the rest of the team?
Well, you just want to kind of like adapt your pick and ban and your play individually. You just think about what you're doing wrong individually and what the enemy team is like, what their patterns are and so on, especially as a support, like where I hook and so on. Like, people usually have movement patterns and so on. That's stuff you can pick up through in a best of series, whereas in a best of one it's like a lot more random. And just overall trying to like keep your head cool and focus on next game, next play, and just always like stop dwelling. Dwelling is the worst part. And
okay.
Yeah.
I like to hear that. Gentlemen, Fnatic advance, they go to face QG. Before we start to wrap up the segment and actually say goodbye to you guys, I want to get some predictions. Dexter, because you were wrong, you can have the pleasure of predicting first. Fnatic versus QG. How do you think that series is going to play out in the big picture, and who is going to advance the semifinals?
I think QG got like a lot out of this series right now, what Fnatic can do and what they want to do. I mean, if you ban Nautilus, for example, which has been one of Gum's best champion, they're going to pick Ramos most likely. So I think QG got like a lot of information out of that to adapt into that series. So I want to say Fnatic, but I think QG is just a bit better, yeah.
Yeah, and they got all that information to work with. Prediction from Mithy.
I think Fnatic is getting better and better game after game. So if they don't get fatigued from so many games in a row, they can actually make this series close. I think QG is strong, but we haven't really seen anything from QG yet. It's been a what has it been? 1 game, 2 games?
1 game, yeah. 1.5 games. I don't know if we count the defeat to SKT.
Yeah, so I think they have a lot of more cards to pull out, and it's just gonna be an intense series, that's for sure.
All right, you didn't actually predict a winner.
I'll stay with Europe. I'll stay with Europe.
All right, so Fnatic
you caught
QG,
me. You caught me.
We will see. You almost tricked me. We'll see which one of our 2 experts actually does predict correctly. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. We know we are going to an ad break, and when we return, QG versus Fnatic.
If your PC is dated and